Hey guys, welcome to Daigotaku, or should I say welcome back, after like what, 5 months? Well actually I think it's been less than 5. I'm pretty sure it was Christmas Eve I put up my first review, but now I'm back, and I got a schedule ready. And the first review I'm going to do is Afro Samurai. Yeah, you know what that is. He's one stone cold mother. Shut your mouth! I'm only talking about Afro! Afro Samurai first started out as a self-published work by Takashi Okazaki, who was inspired by soul and hip-hop music, as well as American media in general. It follows the story of Afro, a samurai who witnessed his father murdered when he was a boy at the hands of justice, who is now owner of the #1 headband, which is said to give the owner the power and authority of a god. Now, all grown up, he believes himself ready and goes to take on justice, while having to deal with challenges along the way. In 2007, the studio Gonzo commissioned a 5-episode miniseries, which in 2009 got its own film sequel, both of which were nominated for Emmys. There was also a game release for Xbox 360 and PS3 that same year, with there being talk about a live-action adaptation. However, production has since been stalled, but I'm sure there is some hope for it. Well, now that's out of the way, let's dig into Afro Samurai Volume 1 and see if it holds up with the anime version. Let's start with the cover. It's okay. I mean, it's nothing really to write home about. It's got the logo on the top, with our main character Afro in a standard fighting pose, covered in blood in a stylized way, which I like, along with the rest of the cover. A couple of things that I noticed. The Tsuba on the sword is a bit big. If none of you know what a Tsuba is, it's pretty much the handguard. As for the second thing, does anyone else notice that the tip of the blade around the second A of Samurai looks like it's behind the A? It looks weird to me. I don't know why, it just looks weird. It just doesn't seem right. But other than those two things, it's an okay cover. The next page after that is pretty much staff credits. It's got Greg Moore for translation. The only thing I could find on anyone named Greg Moore was this Canadian race car driver that looked kind of like Billy from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. As for the other ones, I didn't really feel like looking them over, other than Joshua Fialkov, and I couldn't come up with anything other than some guy that made this one thing called Vampire Cheerleaders. I don't know. This industry's weird. The entire comic book industry is weird. Don't ask me. The first chapter starts off with a splash page of sorts, with the logo at the top, and Afro and his father under a Buddhist sculpture of sorts in a mountainside. It's a pretty good representation of what's going to happen, because knowing that Buddha is a peaceful sort of guy, this is not going to be peaceful at all. You'll see in a minute. The design so far is good. I like this. It's dark, gritty, and it pretty much preludes to what's going to happen in a second. Afro's father tells him to wait right there while he walks off to meet the main antagonist of the series, Justice, a gunman who is obsessed with being #1. The fight happens off-panel and ends as we see Afro horrified at Justice decapitating his father. This ends with Justice taking the #1 headband, laughing, and leaving Afro so angry he becomes the new #2. It's years later, and we find Afro surrounded by bandits who have come for the #2 headband. One of them tries to reason with him to give it up, but he doesn't cooperate, leading to a few of the bandits shooting at him cutting the bullets easily in half, and he goes to kill them for about 4 pages. It doesn't last long. It's pretty fast-paced. However, there's one thing I don't like. What is up with the guy's face when he says, "Kill him"? It just looks weird. Anyhow, as that's happening, we cut to a bald guy with a 2 on his head who is watching Afro through binoculars. He starts talking about how Afro is stronger than he anticipated and is going to hand over the situation over to his brothers in Techi-sen. And then we cut to Afro having killed all the bandits. Good times. As Afro puts away his sword and lights up a joint, I'm not kidding, it looks kind of like a joint, a voice mentions that he annihilated all the bandits in 3 minutes, and that he's got one hell of a sword arm. He then asks Afro why he's trying to obtain the power to control the world. Afro answers, it's just revenge. And then the guy goes, revenge. What a joke. And then he collapses and dies. Again, good times. We then cut back to the bald guy, who calls his brother in order to inform him that all the assassins have been slaughtered. His brother informs him that he knew this was probably going to happen, and is already making preparations. He then goes on to say that it is the destiny of the Empty Seven to obtain the power of the number 1. Going back to Afro, we find him trying to get directions from a gray-haired figure who makes snarky comments about him not saying hello or getting any thanks. This ends the chapter with Afro going to Mount Sumeru to challenge justice. Now on to the second chapter, which starts off with another splash page, which isn't very unique. It's a dime a dozen shot of him under a tree just leaning over it with his sword. I've seen this like hundreds of times, I bet others have, and there's just nothing to it that's different other than the character himself. This is followed by a page of speechless panels, with the next page showing a large group shouting at someone in the crowd of people. The one their leader was talking to, a fisherman with a small child on his shoulders, who refers to the leader as Kashimoto, asks how his arm is doing. Kashimoto gets angry with the fisherman, named Shichigoro, asking Afro to deal with them, telling the kid Kotaro to head home. Kashimoto's thugs begin to get out their weapons when one of them pulls him back when he sees Afro, pulling out a poster of him, with Kashimoto commenting on it being a direct order from the Empty Seven. Shichigoro tells them to hurry up, with Kashimoto's gang going specifically after Afro. Shichigoro, confused, decides to go home, with Kashimoto and co. confronting Afro. They charge, and Afro goes to work, with Shichigoro glaring at him afterward. Shichigoro gives him praise and thanks him, offering to buy him a meal in town for his troubles. Another page of speechless panels later, the two head to a food stand with the owner and Kotaro waiting. Shichigoro asks Afro if he wants a drink, only for him to refuse. Shichigoro has one, with Kotaro mimicking him, like how he did before the bandits were killed. Did I forget to mention that? Shichigoro goes on to explain the bandits were of the Miyako Dori clan, who were hustling people at the inn. So, thanks to Afro, they won't be bothering anyone anymore. Kotaro yawns, and Shichigoro goes to take him back home, saying he'll be back, asking the stand owner to keep Afro there for a while. After that, the owner comments on Afro being the number 2. Afro goes for a sword, only for the owner to tell him to relax. He begins expositing about how the Empty Seven lead all the assassins of the world, sending out orders known as red papers, and the reward for Afro is enough to live in the lap of luxury. Afro asks him how he knows all this, with him explaining how him and Shichigoro began directly doing business with the monks, and later becoming one of their targets, it being 5 years since then, with them running the stand, barely making ends meet. Shichigoro returns, challenging Afro in order to bring his head to the Empty Seven, so that they won't have to run anymore and so Kotaro will be safe. They go to an open field, and the owner begins to say how Shichigoro was trained to be a killing machine as a boy, and trying to save him throughout their time together, which didn't work. Afro mentions how there was no hint of murderousness in Afro's eyes, and how killing is no different than breathing to him. He then finishes by saying there is no place for men like them, and Afro charges, with Shichigoro taking out a chain from him within his sleeve. Afro strikes, only for Shichigoro to entangle his sword and force him to release it. He tries to use his scabbard, but still ends up getting cut a few times. From this page, it looks like Afro took a knife from Shichigoro's sash, but in the next page, it looks like he has his sword back along with another katana. What the hell? Anyhow, Shichigoro begins to die, with the stand owner saying he'll raise Kotaro. A couple of images of him and Kotaro are shown, and he thanks the owner. He dies, and the owner kneels down near his body, telling him to rest in peace. Afro drops the knife and... Wait a minute! Was it katana or a knife? Make up your mind! Anyhow, he drops the knife, lights up his joint, and turns to find Kotaro hiding behind some monastery ornamental statues. And so, the second chapter ends with Kotaro distraught over Shichigoro's death, and clasping his fist as Afro walks away. For the third chapter, we start off with Afro looking down at a village. Again, it's alright. There's nothing unique about it, though. Well, actually, I don't know if it is a village or not. Other than the light shading, there's no indication of anything else it could be. Anyway, Brother One gets a call from this one guy who says Brother One dispatched assassins in his area. Brother One explains to the man, named Gorokube, that Afro seems to be around there. Gorokube says he can take him, with Brother One telling him not to underestimate Afro. Gorokube decides to kill Afro under the condition that he gets everything the Empty Seven has. Brother One accepts, only for Gorokube to hang up on him. Brother Two is skeptical about Brother One's decision, only for Brother One to explain to him that it doesn't matter which one dies, as they win in the end regardless. Gorokube goes on to call the Empty Seven assholes, and wonders how Afro has given them so much trouble. We then go to a splash page of him sitting down to a meal, using a naked woman as a table, and two other women on the right and left of him. Welp, feminists and women in general probably hate me now. Ah well, moving on! Two more speechless panel pages dealing with festival activities later, we then go to a dumbass bitching about not being able to go to the festival. Oh my god, Nate-chan, for the love of God, let me go dance. This year's float has a wicked-ass DJ on it. I'm telling you, nothing dangerous ever happens. Come on, Nate-chan. His sister tells him he has to stay home, saying something terrible was going to happen this year. Unlimited foreshadowing works. Wouldn't you know it, the dumbass, Shokichi, is called out to see the float. It's starting? And then we go to the DJ and the rest of the festival. Shokichi's sister continues pleading to him to stay home, only for Shokichi, douchebag as he is, says, "Why do you always listen to that dirty priest? You just don't want to let me dance because you can't." And we go to his sister in a wheelchair. Shokichi runs out and she falls off of her chair. Shokichi reaches the festival. Kick ass! I made it! Afro is shown in the crowd, the DJ reaches for a disc, and the three characters are shown after. And another speechless panel page. But this time, it has something driving the story, with two assassins on the roof unsheathing their blades. Afro cuts them down, and a woman screams. The people run, with Shokichi's sister calling out to him. Bandits and such begin going after Afro, and as they try to stab him, he grabs Shokichi and uses him as a human shield. Wait, what? Actually, no. Shokichi is a dick munch. He deserves worse for how he treated his sister. Anyway, he kills the bandits for about 2 pages. Gorokube claps, praising him. Afro readies himself, with Gorokube getting out a machine gun. Anyway, he shoots around, knocking Afro back, making him hide in a street corner. Gorokube takes out a shark-shaped torpedo and fires it, pushing Afro back again. Gorokube keeps firing, with Afro dodging easily, hiding behind a corner again. Shokichi's sister comes to him, still out of her wheelchair, asking why he killed her brother, pleading to Afro to give him back. As Gorokube gets closer, Afro comes out of the corner and uses the handicapped girl as a human shield. The Afro I know would never do something like that. Sure, he has killed people, but this is the second time I've seen him use a defenseless bystander, a handicapped one mind you, to block bullets from hitting him! When he kills, he does it so nobody gets in his way, and that has only been applied to people who wanted to kill him in the first place! Never have I seen him use anyone but bandits as shields until now, and it is awful. Absolutely appalling! Ugh. Where was I? Oh right, Afro Jackass was just about to kill Gorokube. He stabs his arm, he develops Liefeld disease for a second and decapitates him. Good freaking times! I'm still pissed about what happened a page ago! Afro lights up his joint and walks off, leaving the bodies behind without even a lick of remorse for the poor girl who just used as cannon fodder! What the fuck? Anyway, Ninja shows up, saying how he was worried about him, though I can't imagine why. He then tells Afro that they need to take a boat in order to get to Mount Sumeru, saying they gotta get past Techi-sen, knowing there's no doubt there's a trap waiting for him. He asks Afro if he wants to keep going, leading him to get on the boat to start paddling. Ending Chapter 3, and dear Lord, there's still 2 more to go! Is it too late to back out of this? Unless you count the bubble saying, ha! Chapter 4 starts with a speechless panel page. How much of these things are there? Ninja wakes up as they both reach Mount Sumeru, with it being shown in this chapter's starting splash page. Again, nothing distinct about it, just looks like a big rock. One of the brothers calls Brother 1, telling him Afro has arrived. Brother 1 thanks him and hangs up. We then go to him telling bandits that all they have to do is kill Afro, and that it should be an easy job. I'm sorry, where were you the last couple of chapters, you old dolt? If he were that easy a mark, he'd be dead right now, you damned gourd-headed turd belch! Ninja tells Afro about the crag on Mount Sumeru, which is where Techi-sen lies, the home of their favorite gang of OG-samas. OG-samas? Pfft, please. I got more street cred than those guys. I once got punched in the face by Buttercup from the Powerpuff Girls. Anyway, unneeded backstory 'cause physics. Ninja, getting a bad feeling, goes on ahead. Brother 1 welcomes Afro to the quote-unquote gates of hell, and archers aim their bows at him. The archers then shoot at him, and he kicks the boat to make it turn upside down. That works, I guess, but he's still hit by 1 arrow. He gasps for air, only to sink back down. Brother 1 then orders Rakuta, another member of the Empty Seven, to retrieve the headband and exterminate the assassins once the boat reaches land. Brother 2 tells him not to let his guard down, with Rakuta saying Afro's already dead. Rakuta goes down, scaring the other assassins. He begins to wonder what Brother 2 meant, and he yells out to Afro to come out and fight, laughing after. 2 assassins talk about how Rakuta was raised by the monks to kill, with one wondering if they will get paid, and Rakuta having a spear thrown near his face a little later. The bandits continue to talk, with one saying after this job, he'll go straight and start off fresh. Afro then climbs up to where they are, and they're killed off panel. Brother 2 tells Rakuta to hurry to where the screaming was, with Brother 2 telling Brother 1 that he's slicing through the assassins, but his dominant arm is wounded. The injured Afro continues to kill assassins for about 2 pages. Rakuta challenges him, saying he won't go easy on him just because he's injured. That's fine, Rakuta. Afro needs a handicap. After all, he used an actual handicap girl as a fucking human shield! Anyway, the fight starts with Afro dodging Rakuta's first attack. Their blades clash, with Rakuta saying Afro's luck is going to run out, the 2 backing away from each other a second later. Afro charges in, and uses Rakuta to jump onto the temple's roof. Rakuta believes he threw a kunai, which was really a sandal. With Afro going down to him, cutting his arm off, and destroying his weapon. Looks like Dora the Explorer's got a run for her money, as Brothers 4 and 5 come out of Rakuta's magic backpack, with the 2 attacking Afro, knocking his sword out of his hand. A short man in a demon-style half-mask talks to someone about how the Empty Seven were planning to become number 1 themselves all along, with him stating how Afro may lose. The man next to him disagrees, saying he'll win, with the short guy leaving, and the chapter ending with the other guy's mask up close, with him saying he'll destroy Afro. Moving on to the final chapter of the volume, thank God, it starts off with Afro in a standoff between Brothers 4 and 5, with Brother 5 saying how they'll torture him before killing him. Brother 5 jumps at Afro, making him move back, only for Brother 4 to pummel him with his staff. Brother 5 praises Brother 4 and states how Afro may now have 5 or 6 broken ribs. Brother 5 says it's a shame they have to kill him, but they don't have much of a choice. Brother 4's staff grows a blade, and they charge at Afro, only for him to grab the blade with his bare hand, it only being a centimeter away from his face. As Brother 5 jumps up, Afro lifts his leg up in the air, kicking him in the groin, with us getting an ass shot. I don't know whether to censor this or acknowledge it as an insult to anyone who bought this thing. Anywho, after that, Afro pokes Brother 4's eyes out. Literally, he destroys them with his fingers. Insert sexual innuendo here. Brother 4 cries out in pain, and Afro gets his sword back and goes to deal with the assassins. The assassins lift their swords, Afro giving them the demon glare, making them hesitate and letting him walk off. Brother 2 prays that his fallen brother's souls rest in peace, and he begins to talk about how Afro's inner beast has awakened. Most of the assassins have already fled, and how none of them have much years to live, and how they should just flee and live peacefully in some village somewhere. Brother 1 then refuses, saying that he must take the number 1 headband to attain eternal life. Brother 2 mocks him for believing in such a thing, saying this entire plan was ridiculous. Brother 1 then stabs Brother 2 in the chest. So yeah, Brother 1's gone batshit crazy. As he's killing Brother 2, he states he never liked him anyway, with Brother 2 getting out a knife. Brother 1 pulls off his arm, letting Brother 2 die, and puts in a gun attachment. Oh, what is this? What the hell is this? There is text going down, and you gotta flip the page around just to read it. Just great. You know what? I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna give this thing the satisfaction of abusing my freaking vocabulary skills anymore. Anyway, Afro goes into a temple. He begins to smoke his joint again, and Brother 1 aims his gun at him. He begins shooting, with Afro dodging every single shot. Just die already. And he goes into another corner. Brother 1 then goes on to say he should be number 1, and shoots a stupid-looking torpedo at Afro. This pushes his face into the ground, making him flip over on his back. Brother 1 starts shooting more torpedoes, and then we enter a splash page of the temple blowing up. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Michael Bay commissioned this page himself. Afro groans in pain, with Brother 1 picking him up by his shirt and aiming his gun in the bastard's face. Oh, but wouldn't you know it, he's out of bullets!
No more bullets?
Yes, out of freaking bullets! What are the odds? Anyways, he begins to choke Afro, which is something I would welcome at this point. Afro grabs Brother 1's robotic arm, kicks him in the face, pushing him until his arm is severed, with Afro killing him in a second or two later with a demonic look in his eyes. Or that could still be Liefeld's disease kicking in, I'm not sure, and quite frankly, I don't care. We then go to another speechless panel page, with the temple partially destroyed, and the dead members of the NT7, and stairs showing Afro going up them. He finally reaches the last step, only to kneel down to rest, his sword in hand. The man from Chapter 4 appears, and we get a closer look at him in a splash page, him sporting 2 katana and a giant teddy bear head. He said he's waited a long time to face him, and how his sole purpose is to kill Afro, his hatred remaining unchanged. This starts a fight scene with the teddy bear head dodging Afro's sword twice, with him saying Afro will eventually pay for all the lives he's taken. He strikes Afro's sword from his hands with one of his blades, saying now is not the time, and that next time they will meet, it will be. And so the volume finally ends with the teddy bear head throwing Afro off into a waterfall. And you know what I think? I think it sucks. A lot. Okay, quite a bit of the images are questionable, but Okazaki did his best to draw, so I ain't going to hassle him on that. But there are some of them that just make Afro out to be this jackass who only cares about revenge. And that's not how I saw him, at least not in the anime and the movie. It is implied Ninja is part of his conscience. He is debating with Ninja himself, his conscience, to do things. And Afro has fears. It is shown through Ninja that Afro has fears. But he goes on in spite of that in order to get his revenge, and so he can move on with his life. But even then, he still struggles. Not in the manga. Oh no. In this, Afro is a murderous jackass who only cares about killing anyone that is in his way and using innocent people as freaking human shields. It is awful. Okay, now let us go to the good parts of it. Let's see. Like I said, Okazaki's drawing style is not too bad, but at times, it can go to questionable routes. However, at quite a bit of points, it is good. And that is pretty much the only thing that I can say that's positive about this. All this did to me was freaking rape my eyes. It was that bad. I do not wish for anyone else to read this for as long as I live. If I could, I would scour the globe to take every single copy of this volume and burn it. The final verdict for Afro Samurai Volume 1 is a 3 out of 10. It's awful. Just don't read it. Just take my word for it. Stay the hell away from it unless you are a psychopath who likes to watch people get killed for no apparent reason. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you want to see more, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the like button so that you can get more Daigotaku. And I'll see you in the next episode. See ya!